Hello, and welcome to the final turn of the first year of the Shitterbowl. Many events have transpired on this turn, and it seems like there's no end in sight for the action. So, Archaecephaly, being your turn 12, the dormant pretender guards are starting to wake up. He fought a lot of battles this turn, so we can watch all of them. This is just him running over some generic indies. Yeah, the commanders are sort of befuddled. So he wins that battle, no losses, interestingly. I believe this video is going to go up after my analysis video of year one. So just for reference, this turn and the events of this turn the events of this turn were taken into account for that video, is what I'm trying to say. So all the losses here, all the victories. This was a close battle. This was actually really close. These guys could have failed their morale check and ran. Yeah, that was dicey. But he wins, even though he only has like half the numbers. He does manage to do it. And this is him fighting the Ictiids, which, if we go look at these guys, you can see immediately their stats are poor. Their protection's poor. They have pretty good HP, and they're a little bit stronger than normal. And the unarmored guys are just worse across the board, except they have a net, which doesn't work against things size 3 or 4. Well, okay, size 3 or 4 has a chance to negate it. Sometimes it doesn't work. Which, if you get hit by that, your defense drops really intensely. Like, I'll show you. So these guys get netted, and yeah, they're... Okay, it goes down by 75%. Pretty bad. Which is why making the naked Ictiids is worthwhile in the first place, because the net is a really nice debuff. But they're not very good units, so they just sort of get run over. And he loses some troops, but definitely worthwhile. He gets a bunch of free gold, as a famous circus has been touring around his lands. He finished a fortress and a palisade this turn. So looks like Archaecephaly has a lot of infrastructure done already. So this turn, diplomatically speaking, Archaecephaly is aware of this conflict going on in Fascia. Wow, he can even see Fascia over here. He is aware of what's going on, and, well, let's just look at his send messages. He is giving 20 astral pearls to Fascia and 200 gold. The pearls that's a lot of pearls. I believe they worked out a deal whereby Archaecephaly is going to take this province to make it look like Archaecephaly is invading Fascia, but he's not actually going to move beyond this province. Which, from my perspective, this is great. This is a great bit of vulturing and intrigue done by Archaecephaly, if that is true, because I mean, it's free land that he gets without having to work for it. He just gets a free province. As far as I know, he doesn't know there's an astral site here, but he's gonna make this back if he holds this desert for 20 turns, which is feasible. Like, you know, that's pretty far into the game, but it's feasible he could get that paid back. But he's delaying to search with his prophet, which seems superfluous, but I think he's just doing it to delay, because he wants to delay his aggressive action as much as possible, which is fine. Otherwise, looks like he's hitting 2 indies this turn, which is really good. This is what he needs to be doing, and this is, in fact, I think, a really smart move. Taking this province, Wold, cuts off these 2 indies, so that way nobody else is going to have access to them unless they want to go through Archaecephaly's land. So he can take them at his leisure without anyone interrupting him. And I think taking this is a smart move. The roads really giving him a nice buff here, because even though it is snowy, the roads are enabling him to move to hit these Lion Tribe, which I think is good. He can win that battle, probably. Back home, he, what is he doing? He is just patrolling with this guy. I wouldn't bother with this. I would just take him out and just have him get more provinces. Like yeah, I mean, there's still lots of land to be claimed. You know, this over here, this is doable. These guys should take that. Definitely want the lizards. You know, all this stuff's pretty good. So I think that's more important than patrolling around. It's like patrolling for what? Patrolling for scouts? Patrolling for spies? So what if there's spies or scouts in your capital? Let them be there. Go take land and win the game. That's what I say. He's taking his mage and walking back to his capital. I feel like he should keep the mage here and have him build a lab. Like, maybe he can't afford it because he wants to make indies or something. He is building a fort here. So that's... How much is this? That's 300. He has Bernadetta from Fire Emblem site searching over here. Which is nice. I do appreciate the names. Site searching with Cali, this is just great. Great province to site search. It is a forest and nothing has been found yet. I think it's highly likely he'll find a magic site in this province. Probably. Or it has to be water or earth. Not probably. It has to be one of those two. Otherwise, sending this mage back. I don't know why. I don't know why this mage was walked out here to the mountain if he's just going to send him back. Like, if you've spent the turn to move him over here, might as well site search, right? Like, what do you have to lose? And you can check for Earth, too. Maybe you'll get an Earth site. I would keep this guy here just so you could build a lab in the future. Like, granted, he doesn't have anything else he could do. Okay, maybe it's worth it. This mage, he has site searching over here. Like, he does have more infrastructure up, but what would be really nice is if that infrastructure could be used to make mages, because that's really how you can propel yourself, even from this position, which I think is pretty bad. Like, this is the worst research position of anyone in the game, because he's not done any yet. But granted, we're still very early game. So it's nowhere near, like, game losing. He just needs to get some labs up in his other forts, that way he can make more mages than other players, so he can catch back up. And then get some construction magics, that way he can craft items that give him more research. Like, for example, he's got fire, so if he gets to construction 6, he can make lightless lanterns, which are a fantastic research booster. Yeah, that'd probably be pretty solid. And nature mages just produce, like, so many good thug items. Like, basically all the good thug items are nature. Granted, they're nature 2, really, a lot of them, but there are some nature 1 ones too, like the boots of reinvigoration, I think is what they're called. Boots the Messenger, something like that. Anyway, not much else to say this turn. This is a generous donation to the Phasian War chest, and I am curious if people are going to be donating to Marignon, because I believe everyone in the game is aware of this war that's going on. The two players have squawked very loudly about this conflict going on, which I think is fine. I think that's a smart move. Get everyone involved in it and make it as public as possible, so that way if you start losing, you can call upon your allies. But this seems fine. I think Archaecephaly is really... he needs to take some provinces, and it looks like the moves he's making now are pretty smart. But this is encroaching a little bit towards Ulm. So I wonder if this expansion avenue will stop eventually. Whereas this is comparatively free. Like, he knows all this is free. Phasia is fighting a war. No way Phasia's spending time worrying about gray flags. Maybe Ulm is. But there's still a lot of fresh land that should be taken. Should already be taken, honestly. He's recruiting Heart Companions. I don't know. I don't think I would make these. Like, they're good. They're good. you do have blood surge on your bless, so that does make them a lot better. They are cheap. Their upkeep is low. That's what I mean. Like, their upkeep is less than a hoplite, even though up front they cost more. So it's not like they're bad. They're definitely solid. I guess he's got the holy points to make them, so why not? They're never bad units, except for their really high encumbrance. That's pretty bad. That's pretty terrible. But hoplites have high encumbrance too. Yeah, you really need your nature mages to cast relief on these guys, because otherwise they're going to pass out. They're going to pass out and then stop being effective in battle. It's sort of the same problem Ulm has. Speaking of which, let us go to Ulm. So he finished Construction 3 this turn, which is big. He's got Legions of Steel now. And he has Alteration 1 done, going for Alteration 2. And his god, listen here, Jack, god of Ulm, the Armor, the Divine Architect, woke up. He fought a couple battles this turn. Oh, sorry, this is not him fighting. This is just him pinging the throne. So we can see it's mostly a lot of chaff. Militia, some heavy infantry over here with spears. A lot of archers, which is like a fake news threat for Ulm. A lot of light infantry. Basically, the front line is not intimidating outside of these heavy infantry, because pierce damage could be relevant. Probably won't be, but it could be. However, the mages here are all sages. These guys have got some pearls. Oh, this guy's got birch boots. Ooh, fancy. And here there's one lore master, blood 3, astral 3, and this guy's just astral 1. So it's possible this blood mage could do something spooky. He does have a lot of blood slaves. If the AI goes into a communion with him as the master, he could cast very high level blood spells or astral spells. Like if all of the sages become slaves, or at least 4 of them, then he would be astral 5. And if he popped a pearl, he would be astral 6. I mean, he's going to be casting like Enslaved Mind. I mean, basically the most doomsday spells for Ulm. However, it's just one guy. It's just one guy. And the rest of these dudes, they're astral 1. So presumably what they're going to do is pop an astral pearl and then spam Mind Burn. So they count as astral 2, and they'll just spam Mind Burn. That would be the most debilitating thing they could do to Ulmites. But his smith, it just runs away. Did he survive? Yes, he successfully retreated. So he just got free until the units aren't scary, it's just the mages. But then he fought a real battle here in the Giant Spire. A bunch of crippled Ulmites in the back. Oh god. The blind, limp Ulmite. He lives. He gets he somehow survives, this blind, crippled man crawling along the battlefield with his pike. Go! Just people come at him and start poking him. He's like, what's happening? He somehow survives. Oh, this is a sucky event. Bunch of unrest. 10 water gems, though. Amazing. That really is an enormous icicle that he found. And yes, he is attacking the throne. What is he attacking with? No! What is this? Flying shards? Word of Stone, flying shards? Oh my god, this is embarrassing. Alright. So, he is bringing his god, so it's alright. It's not the end of the world. However, his god is a 9 protection little dwarf man. Oh, this is his god, by the way. Yeah, I think I showed this already. Basically, all these paths say to me is he just picked these purely for construction and ritual magic purposes. And, I mean, even the dwarf is very good at smithing, which is pretty neat. I like all these choices a lot. Earth 5 gives him access to Earth Blood Deep Well if he gives this guy Earth Shoes. Or a Bloodstone. He could make a Bloodstone, too, with this. Yeah, this just opens up so many options. Like, there's just so much magic he can go into with this. Excuse me. However, there's no need for him to be the one to cast Legions of Steel. Like, I get it, the Olmish Grimoire is not particularly big, but at the very least he should cast, like, defensive spells so he doesn't get hit by one of the 40 archers that's going to be shooting at him, right? Like, personal luck, so that way he has a very good chance of escaping blows that would have otherwise killed him. Or maybe skeletal body, so that way he takes half damage from piercing weapons, like arrows, or twist fate, so that way he negates the first successful hit against him. All of these would be good. Instead, he's casting nothing but Legions of Steel, which is a great spell, but it hits 25 squares. And we know that All Mights are size 2, so the amount of points that can fit in a square is 6, so 3 humans, right? So that means every 3 humans is 1 square. Not on horses, right? So he's got 49 humans here, divided by 3 is like, it's a lot less than 25, is my point. I think he has more dudes up here. Okay, he's got 8 guys over here. Whatever. It's not enough. A lot less than 25 squares will be filled up by Olmish infantry. Granted, these cavalry will make 3.5 squares on their own. So maybe he's approaching 25. Anyway, my point is, with one casting of the Legions of Steel, it is possible to hit the entire army if they're clumped up. Now, granted, they're not clumped up, so it makes sense to cast it a second time, just to, like, get the first half, like, clear up this whole area, and then get the second half, get all that. That makes sense. Why cast it 3, 4, 5 times? Like, by 5 times, you've made contact with the enemy at this point. Probably by the 4th, or maybe even 3rd to try. All these guys are casting flying shards. They're not very powerful. They can severely injure lightly armored units, which would be good if these guys were tribe. But these guys aren't tribe. They've got 9 protection, which is poor, but flying shards only does 10 damage, so 10 versus 9. That sucks. You're gonna barely chip them with your, like, rock that you're throwing at them. I think this is like a gross misuse of a lot of mages. These guys could be researching. Like, you don't have to bring it makes sense. No, it doesn't make sense to bring your god. You're bringing your prophet. Your prophet can claim the throne. The god doesn't need to do it. But maybe the god is there to site search. All right, fair enough. If the god is going to the throne to site search, thrones have the most magic sites in the game. So that makes sense to me. Got it. Fair enough. He should bring some smiths along so that way they can cast Legions of Steel. Now wait, they can't cast Legions of Steel. They're Earth 3, but you give them an Earth Gem and they'll eat it at the start of battle. And wow, there you go. It's in white now. They just cast Legions of Steel. And then you give this guy an Earth Gem and tell him to just copy that script. Hello? You tell him to copy that script. Put this guy up here at the north side. Put this guy over here on the south side. There you go. You just hit your whole army with Legions of Steel with one casting from 2 mages. Now all your other dudes can sit in the lab and be nerds and play D&D or whatever All Mights do. They don't need to go out here and cast flying shards, which will do 1 damage anyway, will barely be relevant. I think this is a terrible waste of mage turns. And as I mentioned in the analysis video, there's a big gap between Ulm and all the other players, and this is definitely a way for the other players to get back in the game. If Ulm keeps doing things like this, like, effectively what this is he's deleting his whole mage core for a turn. 2 turns even, because they have to walk back into a lab to start researching. So he's losing 2 turns of research. It's early game, not the end of the world. But, like, if these guys were back home researching, you don't even need to bring these guys. You can have, what is going on? You could have these 2 dudes researching as well. So you only need these 2 mages, your prophet and this guy. This guy, I understand, he's bringing extra troops, fair enough. This guy moving in is just pointless. There's no reason for that. He should just go site search or something. So you're just bringing this. Oh, he's even casting Earth Might. Oh, that's okay. That's a fine. That works. It only hits one square, but if you put this guy in front of the cavalry, that will buff their strength, and they really need it. Like, just putting him over here in a random spot is kind of pointless. He's gonna buff the things in front of him, so put him behind the cavalry so he hits the important stuff. Anyway, this could take the throne, maybe. I'm not sure how the lore masters will do it. Like, if the lore masters will cast a bunch of mind burns and just start eviscerating these poor All Mights in their tin cans. But we'll see. Anyway, look at the research he could be getting with this. He could get Conjuration 1. He could be, how much would Conjuration 2 be? He could be almost halfway to Conjuration 2 after this. Why is he going for Conjuration 2? Ogres? I guess. I mean, that makes sense. Ogres are good if you want Mind Burn chaff, because mages will prioritize these guys. But you're going right into the Mind Burn Hornet's Nest, right off the bat. Maybe it'll work. Maybe I'm over-exaggerating. Maybe Olm's got this in the bag, and he'll win. Regardless of bringing all these mages for no reason. This battle he'll win effortlessly, I'm sure. What's he recruiting? Recruiting a bunch of black plates dudes and a bunch of master smiths. He is building a fortress over here. He is building a palisade over here still. Something I would do is take this mage and start moving him in this direction, so that way he could build a lab on this fort as soon as it's done. So on the turn that the palisade is done, the lab gets built on that same turn. So that way they're done at the same time, and you can immediately build a mage. You can immediately start recruiting a master smith. Just a small thing. He is making an assassin over here, and then he has another master smith queued. I see he's not recruiting any troops. This is just a mistake. Like, there's no reason not to make all these pikeneers or anything. It's just gold floating for no reason. In this province, no PD. Ugh. Yeah, well, I mean, I could dissect the tiny pieces of this turn, but supposedly my purpose this game was not to dissect every single person's turn individually, so I'm not going to do that, or at least I'm going to try to stop. Here's Marignan assassinating the one commander who was leading this Phaeacian army, which was very predictable that Marignan was going to continue assassinating here, and he gets killed. Wow, amazingly the horse tribe just barely missed. Like, if he got 1 point higher, he would have missed. That was a big roll from both of them. And then the assassin hits. Well, he misses, and then he hits for 11. The repel value is just a little too low, and the attack roll 1 point over the defense roll. This was an extremely close assassination. Maybe it didn't look that way, but this was actually super duper close. So anyway, the one commander there got killed, so presumably that Phaeacian army didn't move. And here's Marignan taking the bulk of his army and just bullying some lion tribe. The paladins casted Blessing once. Did that actually get all of the knights? No, it didn't. It didn't get all the knights. Definitely not. There are, I think I counted 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excuse me. Yeah, anyway, some of the knights failed to get blessed this battle. I'm sure it doesn't make a difference. They're just lion tribe. really wonder, it makes you wonder why was PD even there in the first place. A few ice crystals of fantastical proportions have fallen in the province. A mild winter has enabled your traders to travel extensively and livestock to survive the winter. Even with misfortune too, Marignan gets some good events, back to back. And he finishes the palisade in Bogaton. This is a big jump in his power, because now this is another province where he can recruit Knights of the Chalice, and he can recruit Paladins. It's like he's spending gold on Flagellants. I would just save it. And we may have a battle next turn, as he is sending all of these troops to attack this army here, the Bandar army. This is an interesting script. Like, these guys are in the center, but being told to attack rear. They're on sparse line formation for some reason, so their morale's just a little worse. Odd. Anyway, these guys are only being blessed one time, I see, for each of these squads. Oh, they're right in front of them. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, the bless will probably hit all of them then. And then he has a bunch of crossbowmen in the back on fire and keep distance, which is kind of neat. Like, if troops go over to hit these guys, they'll just back up and let the cavalry sweep on in. This is a smart script. I would consider blessing 2 times, though. Just in case it happens. Also, this guy can cast Combustion. Maybe not what he wants, but it is a fun thing that he could do. The Onion Knight, in fact. So what else is he doing? He has a mage here, sight searching. Oh, he's recruiting mercenaries. No, he's not. He's bidding 37 gold. Barely trying to recruit them. What about back home? Anything happening here? Oh, yes, he's sending his paladins to attack 59, not the nightmares. He must find these really scary. They're really not that intimidating. One good squad of Knights of the Chalice, blessed up, could eradicate them. No doubt in my mind. Looks like he's sending a mage out to sight search, which is good. It's about time he's going to finally start sight searching. Marignan is really far behind on the sight searching game. This battle will probably go well. This recruitment seems weird considering he is invading another player. Like, this is kind of what I did as Jotunheim, is I was invading another player and trying to take them out of the game, but I was simultaneously expanding, and so what ended up happening was this invasion was sort of just half-assed, and this expansion was also sort of poor. Granted, Knights of the Chalice are a lot better than the giants I was rocking. But in next turn, he won't be able to, like, he won't have an army to move out from his cap. He'll just be recruiting a Grand Master, so he'll have a bunch of knights just sitting here not doing anything. Maybe this battle goes really poorly and he needs to reinforce his front immediately. Well, then he's got nothing to follow up on. Like, suddenly he's on the back foot just from one battle. I don't think that would happen. This is a huge amount of destructive killing power. But we'll see. It kind of depends on what Faish is doing too. These 2 provinces still have no province defense at all. I don't know if I mentioned, but he upped the PD on his capital. I thought this was funny. He told me he did this, so I knew that this had happened, but I thought that was funny. This is a terrible waste of gold, by the way. Like, this is a horrible waste of money. PD is like totally... PD I don't think is very useful in the first place. Even Fort PD, but as Marignan you're getting these Pikeneers, which are so... I mean, they're so bad. Their best thing is the length 5, but... Ooh, their stats just suck. Oh, they really suck. It's like everything about the Olmish Pikeneer, except worse. They're a little cheaper, I guess, on resources. So this is a lot of money. This is probably like a few hundred gold that could be Knights of the Chalice instead. Not saying that makes a difference yet. We haven't seen the armies really clash yet. but it could be a problem. So Agartha casted Attentive Statues again. He's got Enchantment 2. There was a battle in Lish. Heavy Cavalry. Oh, and some Light Cav too. I wonder if his Troglodytes will make contact, and looks like they will. Yeah, big juicy red numbers going up on extremely expensive squishy guys. But looks like he'll win this battle. Troglodytes just like killing everything on their own, really. The Troglodytes kind of soloed that. But they paid the price. Granted, Heavy Cav's sketchy. So over here, he has a bunch of line infantry in sparse formation against some generic indies. I'm curious why the sparse line formation, like why he decided to do that. I'll have to ask him about it after the game. Because I wonder what advantage it offers. It certainly reduces your morale, I think. I think it does. Let me check. So where was that? That was over here. Wait, what? A sparse line. Yeah, -1 to morale. What is he doing with this guy? He's going here to Centania. He's sending a message to every nation. We can see that later. This province, hold on. This doesn't look clean. This doesn't look like a winning battle. This looks like a very bloody battle that's about to go down. As far as I'm aware, diplomatically, Agartha is in alliance with Marignon against Fascia, and has been since last turn. As far as I can tell, Agartha is just totally pulling Marignon's leg, and is just doing that to give him a false sense of security. Maybe that's because he watched this battle, and he thinks Marignon isn't really in the best spot, and he's just looking to vulture land if he can get away with it. Because it's not like Marignon can retaliate against Agartha. They're nowhere near each other. Even though they should be. Even though they should be near each other, they're not. Oh, he's trying to take this barbarian province. He is sending his mage. Oh no, the morale of these troops is really low, though. It's actually going to be worse. It's going to be 9, because they're in their home right now. They're going to have 9 morale. That's really awful. Troglodytes have good morale. Statues will never run away. Looks like he's relying on the power of the attentive statues to carry him through this battle. Unfortunately, barbarians are one of the few units that use blunt instruments, so they will not be affected by the pierce or slash resistance of the statues. So they're going to do full damage. Granted, they have to hit really hard, but barbarians do hit really hard. I think they do 24 damage by default. Yeah, they do 24 damage by default. So if they connect, they're going to chip the statues a bit. They have to hit them a lot to finish them off. So it's by no means a sure thing that the statues will just get crunched. And they've got good stats too. And their shield is actually really sturdy. They never tire. These guys are so good. These are such incredibly good units. I should play Agartha. However, this is a problem. All these guys being here, at 9 morale, it's highly likely that they'll check for morale and they'll fail and they'll retreat. And once they retreat, the Troglodytes will see their masters retreating and they'll freak out and they'll check for morale and maybe they'll fail. And if this guy runs, then the statues will just blow up because they can't fight unless a commander's present. So I think this is winnable, but I think it would have been a lot more winnable if this was the formation. Now this is kind of, a little bad. Maybe it would be more like this. But then at least the morale penalty isn't so awful. It's only going to be 11 instead of 9. And never forget that. But it could be bad. It could be he loses this. This is a lot of barbarians. I don't remember exactly how many there were, but he should know. He should, if he's taking notes, then he will recall exactly how many barbarians were in this province, because he saw the barbarians take it. Looks like he's not going to bump with Archaecephaly over here. He's going to try for these 50 in the woods. Oh, I mean, he won the other Barbarian province off the back of Troglodytes, so I guess it's conceivable he wins this. I think he's going to get annihilated, but I've said that before and I've been wrong. But I feel like he's going to get annihilated. I feel like this army is going to get wiped out, and Agartha is going to have nothing on his northern side. Building a palisade here will be done in 2 turns. Ulm didn't seem to care. Site searching, he's still getting more statues, getting more golem crafters, just producing the normal levy. What is he doing in his capital? He recruited, or he hired these Raiders of the Silver Steppe, which are pretty crappy. I mean, like, you can look at these. They're eh. If you were Gaul and you could awaken their tattoos, this would be a cool feature. Give them extra defense and invulnerability, which they really need to make them more sturdy. But otherwise, they're kind of just like fast, light infantry, but with higher defense skill. I mean, they're better in every way, right? More strength, more attack, more HP. But protection sucks. Their damage sucks. Their ranged weapon is nothing special either. This battle should be winnable, though, by them. Oh, is he sending everything? No, what did... Oh, wait, I canceled it. Let me go back. What is he doing? Okay, he's sending everything over here. His commander, though, is not on battle orders. Uh-oh. Didn't script that. I think he's just going to run forward, and it's possible he could get killed by the Indies here. Hopefully that won't happen. That would be a real tragedy. You know, speaking of tragedies. And these guys on fire is kind of a joke. Like, their precision sort of sucks. And even if they hit, it's not very strong. And they're going up against heavy infantry, which, out of all the Indies, these are probably the most resilient dudes to weak arrow spam. But this looks like a tiny province. I'm overanalyzing it. I'm sure he'll win. He really needs to put a lab here so he can build another mage. I hope I didn't miss anything else. I guess he got a Windspire here. That's good. Getting that air gem income back. 2 Windspires. That's quite nice. And finally, onto Fascia's turn. A messenger has arrived from Archaecephaly. I know you don't need my help, but I want to bring something to your attention. Every play has verbally stated they want you out of the game first. The player who has exhibited it the most is Sam. Sam here, in this case, being Marignon, who has even gone to state his main goal in this game is to wipe you out. You can ask them about this, but 2 things will happen. 1, they'll say no and just attack when they're ready. 2, they'll say yes and just attack when they're ready. Just be cautious of any treaties you make. Which is a bit of a confusing diplomatic message. Here is the astral site he found in this desert. We know how the assassination goes, but I suppose we could watch him in this battle. This is just mercenaries that sailed across the sea. Blackbones pirates against some lion tribes. These guys are pretty meh units. Like, you know, their stats aren't that great. Their protection's poor. But they've got a cutting weapon, which is strong. They'll kill in 1 hit. Here, Lothar, the captain of the bowmen, is running out to fight in melee. Looks like the Bone Tribe rout off the archers. Oh, Blackbone himself is coming in to fight. He's going to fight all of these men by himself. He just gets killed immediately. And here Lothar is fighting to the bitter end. 1 versus 3. This is amazing. He's not dying. Nope. He got killed. Stabbed him right in the body for 15 damage. What an explosive roll of 21. Killing him. Very unfortunate. And he still had so many pirates. So all these guys are dead. All the mercenaries are going to die because the commanders got killed, sort of needlessly. But it's alright, it's a 73 gold province, and that's sort of the beauty of mercenaries. Even if you lose them, if they take just like 1 or 2 provinces, they kind of pay for themselves in like 3 turns. So they're really never a bad investment, unless they're a really, really useless mercenary company. Looks like we will not have a battle next turn. Okay, well we will... What is he doing? So he's sending the Bandar warriors into these Knights of the Chalice, which that's just a... This is just suicide. These guys will just get trounced badly. They probably won't even connect. But if they did connect, they would hit really hard. I would consider walking them down here onto the fort so you could at least see how much PD is there. He already knows what's here. He can see exactly all the troops here, the scripting. And this army is commanderless, and we did see the Marignan assassin is sitting there being told to assassinate a commander, which is actually interesting. I wonder if what's going to happen is the assassination trigger goes first before movement, which I think is the way it works. So the assassin will check the province to see if there's a commander, and he won't find any, and then Marignan will be like, well, there's no commanders here for us to assassinate. And then the Phaeacian commanders will walk into it, because he is sending a lot of commanders here, but I think assassination triggers first before movement. Speaking of which, this army is nasty. This is a big army. These guys are all pretty sturdy. He's got a interesting script here, I suppose, to defeat every form of knight movement. Clearly, his strategy is just rely on lightning bolts, which is a totally reasonable method of waging this war. I think mine burns would be superior, but if the lightning bolt connects, it's a kill. So can't fault him for that. So there will be a little battle next turn, as I wonder how this will go. I think these troops will walk into this province and fight the PD, and then the Bandar guys will walk into this province and fight the Knights of the Chalice. Or maybe the Knights of the Chalice will move here and they'll fight together. I think it's a coin flip what ends up happening. Whether these two armies just sail past each other like ships in the night, or if one of them fights the other in their respective provinces. Like, it's not actually impossible. I think it's not impossible for the Bandar guys to walk here, and for the Knights to walk here, and for there to actually be no battle. But I don't think that's very likely. Anyway, he's not doing anything super special. What is he sending to this mountain? Just some horrible, grumbling foul spawn. Good luck. So there will be a massive army here, because this is not factoring in the 38 troops sitting here leaderless, plus the 1 light infantry that'll be there just to hurt morale a little bit more, just to get this guy killed off so the morale check comes a little quicker. He is recruiting a lot of indies. A mounted commander, some random indies, horse tribe chief, commander. This is oh god. I mean, I get it. Assassins are dangerous, but the best tool against assassins is not really to flood your army with poor units and weak commanders. Like, some of them I think are fine. Building a commander here seems pointless. You're going to lose this province. Like, all of these 3 are up for grabs, so you should expect this forest, this road, and this farmland to get attacked this turn. So all the other stuff is safe. But this is a trash commander. He's undisciplined. This guy sucks. But like, recruiting this guy I think is fine, or this dude is okay. This is probably the best because his map move is so high, so he can move around really quickly. That makes sense to me. But anyway, won't be a battle here this turn. He is researching for mine burn. He won't get it this turn. He will have it the turn afterwards, but importantly, he will have his communions up, which he really should have had up already. But that's alright. Looks like he's not going to site search here with this mage, just bringing it back home. I kind of concur with this. Like, if you're in Archocephaly's position, you should site search and research all day, but in Fascia's, yeah, just bring everyone home. Just use all your power to repel this invasion, because it really is just like, if Fascia gets sieged, Marignon wins the war. And that's really it. Now, actually, the same thing can be said if Marignon gets sieged. Fascia would win the war, but that doesn't seem likely. Shame, this is a valuable province, and he's going to lose it this turn. That's a big chunk of his gold income down the drain. But as we have seen, it seems Fascia is going to be getting a gold influx this next turn, so maybe it won't be that bad. Anyway, that is the end of year one, ending on a bang, and we'll have to see if year two can carry the same ferocity.